Hey everybody, this is Father Warner. It's 9 o'clock and 9 o'clock is with me. We are in Friday of the 6th week in Ordinary Time. Our text today is taken from Mark chapter 8 verse 34 to Mark chapter 9 verse 1. I do hope you'll read this text. I've entitled today's teaching, God's Grace is Free but Not Cheap. Now, the great theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer makes it clear, while God's grace is always bestowed freely, it is never bestowed cheaply. Discipleship has its demands, and Christ peels the layers of the onion on each of these demands in today's gospel, perhaps even drawing us to tears. Jesus has shut up and shut down Peter's ambition that we saw in yesterday's teaching. Jesus was teaching his disciples on the reality of what Messiahship would entail. He described his passion, his death, and resurrection, much to Peter's horror, who took it upon himself to remonstrate with the Master. Now Jesus had to take this teaching one step further, setting their minds not on human things, but on things divine, namely the plan of God for the salvation of the world. This teaching that Jesus gave was not to a select group of 12. We are told that Jesus now calls the crowds with his disciples. He clearly intends this teaching for all, not just for his followers. This was to be a way of life for everyone who would ever seek to follow him down the ages. The world we live in has perfected the art of marketing. Its goal is to sell at any cost, even by deception. We choose the most appealing image, even though it may be unrelated to the product being sold. We pick words carefully, words that would draw in many more takers. We sensationalize, airbrush, exaggerate, and promise the earth. Christ did just the opposite when he made his pitch for his followers. He laid every card on the table, spelt every consequence, highlighted the small print, and then and only then in freedom called us to follow him. There is no bait dangled, just a free invitation, but he gave us a clear list of demands that were not tied up with paper and ribbon. While the text of today, my dear friends, has many beautiful reflections, I'd just like to focus on two. The call to discipleship involves denying yourself. Denying self is not the same as self-denial. Most people confuse this. We practice self-denial in the season of Lent when, for a good purpose, we give up things or activities for a period of time. But we deny self when we surrender ourselves to Christ and decide to obey his will. Obeying his will is far more challenging than passing over an ice cream. It is passing our own ego so that Christ's will be done. Discipleship, my dear friends, implies a loss of identity and taking on a new corporate identity as members of Christ's body. St. Paul says, I now no longer live. Christ, he says, lives in me. Secondly, discipleship implies taking up one's cross. Sadly, this very line, taking up one's cross, has been trivialized. It has become a very casual metaphor for suffering. We seem to suggest to each other that whenever a suffering comes our way, we should embrace it as if it were our cross. The crowds who heard Jesus must have gasped in horror. The cross was an instrument of shame and suffering. The Romans used it as the worst form of death, and so gruesome was it that Roman citizens condemned to death would be decapitated rather than be crucified. Therefore, take up your cross and follow me means being willing to die in order to follow Jesus. This is called dying to self. It is a call to absolute surrender. After each time Jesus commanded cross-bearing, whenever he said, take up your cross and follow me, he also said things like, For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for me will save it. Or he said, what good is it for a man to gain the whole world and yet lose or forfeit his very self? Although the call, and I agree this call is tough, the reward is matchless. I want to wish today my dear friend who lives in New York, Devanjan D'Souza, a very, very happy birthday. He was a youth when I first met him in St. Andrew's College, where I used to teach the value education course. He since then married his beautiful wife of Irish origin, Bridget, and they live in New York. I was happy to be there for their wedding and then for the baptism of their first daughter, Indira. I think I missed Arjun's baptism, but I was there. I've been a very special part of that family, and a big shout out to you, Devanjan. Have a happy and a blessed birthday. To all of you, I want to thank you for these daily teachings that you join me with, for your contribution to the children of the Love, Joy, Hope Foundation that we run in Nuvei, Goa. It's run by Lenny and Nadia Suarez, a wonderful couple who have truly taken up their cross, denying themselves so much and giving to these 12 children a wonderful, in fact, if I may say, the most fabulous life they could ever get. Thank you for your contributions, which make a very big difference. As you would also see today, I am sitting in the Archdiocesan Heritage Museum. I've been here yesterday and today, and I've been displaying beautiful pieces. I chose today a cross. It's a fantastic piece that is mounted on ebony. The image of Jesus itself, in fantastic condition, is carved out of ivory. It's not a single piece of ivory. The main body is in ivory, and then the hands were always joined together. But the wooden cross is embellished with silver. And so if you look at the ends, there are beautiful volutes, and these are silver along with the rays and a bit of touch of gold on the loincloth of Jesus. If you'd like to come and visit our museum in Goregaon East, all you got to do is look up the number that will appear on your screen today, make a call, make a booking because you need a prior appointment. You could do this as a group, as a Sunday school, as one of the associations, or come here as an individual. When you come here, we will take you around on a tour. There is a fee, there's a charge of 100 or 150 rupees, I forget myself, but it is worth every penny, because Joynelle will take you through. She's the assistant director of our museum, and she'll show you the beauty behind each piece, explaining it in great detail. So you could make this a Lenten activity this year, to come and spend some time, not just to look at these pieces which are 400, 300 years old. Don't look at how precious they were, but look at how they brought glory to God as they were used in worship here in our Archdiocese of Bombay. And if ever you want to contribute to this museum by giving us one of those beautiful family heirlooms that you have, a piece perhaps like this that you'd like to display in memory of your family members, do get in touch with me. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and yes, subscribe to our channel. And I'll see you tomorrow. 9 o'clock is with me, Father Warner. Bye for now.